Welcome to the Shootin' podcast, presented by Heath Riles Barbecue, with tips, tricks, and an inside look with some of the top pitmasters in the game. Now here's your host, Heath Riles.
Welcome back, everybody. Today's episode of Shootin' the Q, we're joined, of course, by my lovely wife, Candace. How you doing today, hon?
I'm good.
Just good?
Great.
Great. That's right. It feels that way after the rush we've had lately, isn't it?
It's been busy.
Yeah.
Very busy.
A lot of things going on. Got kind of hectic last week. We got away from work with my son having to have gallbladder surgery and all that. And all that went well, and he's all good now.
My dad having some stuff.
And your dad having some stuff at the hospital.
My dad's friend having some stuff. Just
and
everybody.
He's still having some complications.
He is. Bless his heart.
Yeah, we need to say a little prayer for him. It's been crazy. Work, family, life, it's kind of been all running together lately. So we've been working on some new recipes coming up, talked about all that. But one of the biggest things you told me about that I did not, I guess that blindly went over my head, was the new Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich.
Yeah, so I had been seeing this on social media for, I don't know, it hasn't been very long, like maybe a week or so, that Chick-fil-A was going to be coming out with this new sandwich, like pimento cheese on it. And that's all I really knew. I didn't know the details. I just knew pimento cheese. And, you know, I'm really picky when it comes to that. Really, really picky. Not normally a store-bought pimento cheese person at all. But anyways, I got an email just yesterday actually saying that sandwich was out. So we decided to eat that for dinner. And so basically it's their traditional chicken sandwich with pimento cheese. It's also got honey and is it candied jalapenos or just regular pickled jalapenos? I think it's pickled.
Yeah, I think it's just pickled jalapenos, but it's got the honey drizzled on the chicken breast before the pimento cheese.
Correct.
And I can honestly say Chick-fil-A done a job there.
I feel like nothing's bad from Chick-fil-A. I mean, that's just my opinion, but
not really. I mean, that's one of the companies to respect, especially since they're closed on Sunday. And what's really cool to me, what attracts me to follow Chick-fil-A some, not only do they have good food, but they also, all of their sauces the profits are donated for kids to go to college that work there. They take zero of the profit. And so, which I think that is just spectacular that a company still does that in today's times.
And they've got a lot of sauces now. I mean, I feel like it started minimal and now it's a lot.
Well, you know, they're also doing a grilled version of that sandwich. So I think that may be something that I tackle coming up. I may have to go ahead and make my own version of that sandwich.
So I think you can get like their traditional fried, or you can get the spicy fried, or you can get grilled.
I bet the spicy fried with honey is probably pretty good.
So we tried it, and I thought you took the jalapenos off of yours just because seeds, and you're not supposed to have any seeds. But I ate them on mine. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah,
Something different.
It was really good. Well, moving on, talking about another topic that come out this week, talking about the Southern Living ranked the top 7 barbecue restaurants in the Memphis area. And they started off at number 7 at Payne's Barbecue, which is, in my opinion, severely underrated. Payne should be up a little bit more. It's got a really good chopped barbecue sandwich with slaw. It's on point. The barbecue bologna's on point. Number 6, Interstate Barbecue. Now, I know you've been to Interstate with me several times before. I'm going to say it's so-so. I don't know if it's one of the top 7. Cozy Corner,
Number
severely 5. At number 5, underrated.
I haven't been there.
I'm going to flat out call it. It's going to be hard for me to say that's not the best rib.
Is that where you went with Blaine that time?
Yes. That's probably the best rib in Memphis, in the city limits of Memphis. If you don't include Memphis Barbecue Company, which is in Horn Lake, that definitely, I think, is the number 1 rib in Memphis. Number 4 on the list is, of course, the famous Rendezvous. I'm going to leave that alone. It's great sausage and cheese plate. I don't do the ribs.
Cold beer.
Cold beer's great. Central's at number 3, which is it's setting about average. I would feel like where they need to be. They have good ribs, great pulled chicken salad, Love their jerk wings. They make all their sauces, from scratch, their dressings and stuff. Really good. The barbecue shop at number 2.
I haven't been there either.
I used to sell beer to Eric. So, back in the day, Eric was great. Barbecue spaghetti, some of the best in the city. Can't go wrong by checking them out. But their ribs are great too. But number 1, A&R Barbecue. I just can't see it. I don't know who put this list together.
I haven't been to A&R either, so I can't say one way or the other.
I've ate at A&R a dozen times, and I cannot see in any of those dozen visits where it deserves to be number 1. And I'm not discrediting them. They have great barbecue. They're just not number 1, not in my opinion. And we'd run a blind taste test. I don't know. It'd be pretty cool. We need to get back to the whole rib visit though. It's time for me to rank ribs. It's 50 restaurants in the city limits right now.
That's a lot.
In Memphis, of surrounding area around here, including DeSoto County, it's 50 barbecue restaurants. And we have the list, and I have the list here. And it's time to start checking some off and start giving them some scores.
So at one time we kind of had an idea and started it, but then life just got crazy, and we planned to go to all these restaurants and order lots of things and kind of review it on camera, release that on social media. We did one, and it did get released, and that was Tom's Barbecue here in Memphis. Tom's Barbecue has been on diners, drive-ins, and dives. I have a personal connection there from a long time ago. Adam actually owns Tom's Barbecue. It's not Tom that owns Tom's. But yeah, I mean, so we did do that. And then after that, we just kind of stopped. So that's kind of something we need to get back to, going to all the different barbecue restaurants here in our area. But I feel like there are definitely some ones that should have been on that list that weren't.
I mean, it's definitely,
I don't have that list in front of me, but
it's a very long list, and some of the restaurants you would not know, but even as far as just like a rib game, Blue City's got a great rib. I mean, it does on Bill Street.
Yeah.
But if you include Memphis Barbecue Company in the mix,
I mean, I feel like
solid.
Memphis Barbecue is Memphis. I mean, I know it's Horn Lake, but I mean, that's North Mississippi, right on the Memphis line. That's Memphis.
But the one we have not been to that we need to go visit now is Bain Barbecue downtown, and their Texas style barbecue.
Well, it's Midtown.
Midtown.
Yeah.
Midtown. Yeah. It's Midtown. I say downtown. Sorry.
Yeah.
But you hear nothing but great things about Bain Barbecue. Traditional Texas style pit barbecue in downtown Memphis. So we need to go give it a try.
It's a bakery too, right?
Yes.
Like barbecue and bakery.
Barbecue and bakery.
I'll be the judge of that.
You'll be the judge of that. Well, I don't want to wait any further. I want to bring our guest on. Today, we're going to be joined by our good friend, Craig Verhage, the BBQ Ninja. Also works for Roll Oak Charcoal. Let's get Craig on in here. All right, and we're back, everybody, and we're joined by our guest today, our good friend, Craig from Roll Oak Barbecue, but better known to me from my good friends, Ubon's Barbecue. How you doing today, Craig?
Man, I'm outstanding. It's awesome to be here. I've been watching your show here, and you've got a great podcast. And man, I thought to myself when I first saw it, I can't wait to get on there. And here I am.
Well, man, you've been friends. We've been friends a long time. Seen each other on the circuit many years, cooking, and always had a good time hanging out. And it's just crazy. And we've talked about it off camera before, how barbecue is kind of involved and just took the lives of so many people in a twist away, and took people away from corporate jobs and training, and now people make such a living in barbecue. It's kind of crazy, ain't it?
Well, yeah, it really is. And I think, it was kind of in the back of our mind that was our end goal. And once we really got into it, it just kind of, got so much momentum, and it really got a lot of legs. And I had a goal, and that was to, 25 years, retire the insurance business and be in barbecue full time. And that's what I got to do. So
nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing at all. And seeing, the hard work you put in, and the awards you won, the rubs and sauces you developed. And it's been fun to sit back watching your success too.
It's been a wild ride, I can tell you. Well, for the people that don't know you, Craig, tell everybody a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from, and kind of how you got into barbecue and what you do now in barbecue.
Okay. Well, it goes back 25 plus years. It's been quite a while. It's you blink a few times, now you're one of the older guys in barbecue. But I started right out of college. It was me and some buddies, Oktoberfest actually in Cleveland.
Great contest.
Great contest, near and dear, exactly, yeah. And they actually needed another MBN team to kind of get sanctioned and get the field going, and so me and some buddies decided to, hey, we could cook, we're pretty good, and we got together and did that competition for the first time, and we made finals in shoulder. And got third in shoulder, and of course, you know what happens then. So hundreds of $1,000s later, exactly. Here we are, and so we had that team. It was called Porkin' to Please, and
Porkin' to Please.
Porkin' to Please. It was pork INN, like you're in a inn. To please, and a little name play there, but we did that for about 3 years, and I tell you, at that age, guys started getting married, guys started moving off away, and it kind of got down to really just me, and over those years, I got to know Gary Roark real well from U-Bonds. As a matter of fact, he would request, and I would request to be next to each other at competitions because notoriously, we're going to forget something. I mean, we have forgotten rub, we've forgotten charcoal, we've forgotten fence, we've forgotten tents, or somebody just don't show up, something like that. So he always was there and always was there to help me. And so when we kind of disbanded, he called me up and said, hey, man, if you're still, interested in cooking barbecue, I'd love to have you on the team. And, back then, man, he had won Memphis in May shoulder, and he was just burning up the circuit, and somebody that I thought would be awesome to learn from, not only barbecue but life. And
he was a good man.
He was a great man.
Yeah, and so that was just a phone call I'll never forget, and I was like, heck yeah, man. And I went to Delta State with Leslie and Jennifer, his daughters, and also his son-in-laws, both Heath and Kevin. So knew them real well, and it was just a match that was meant to be. So been with them ever since then. That was, gosh, I say 25 plus years. I started saying 26, 27, and I just started saying, okay, it's 25 plus. And then just. And I sold insurance also in those 25 years. I started an agency in Cleveland from scratch and built it up. And like I said, it was just a goal of mine to be in barbecue, full time eventually. And so, after 25 years, I was vested in retirement and insurance. And this opportunity with Royal Oak came along, and they wanted to really build the Royal Oak brand, and wanted somebody to spearhead that. And it was a perfect job, and perfect company. I was already representing them, and the people from there, and you've
great people.
Yeah, great people.
Great people.
And so it was a no-brainer. I was like, well, this is what I wanted. Don't hesitate when you're offered, what you wanted, and it's right in front of you. You gotta grab it and go. So that's what I did.
So a few weeks ago, I guess what's your role at Royal Oak, to be exact?
I'm marketing coordinator. I'm over the sponsor team program. I'm over the ambassador program. I also, kind of the expert on staff. They come to me for any barbecue questions, and then do a lot of the content for them also. So that's a lot of what I do.
Well, with you being the barbecue coordinator for marketing and all that, your travels, as I know, you get to go to a lot of these big events and a lot of things and do a lot of things. And so before we get into the event stuff, a few weeks ago, you just had Malcolm over to headquarters, right?
Yeah.
And y'all done a live over there at the Pavilion and all that. And,
we did.
And for the people that have not seen the Pavilion at Royal Oak, it's just gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's in the woods. You might see deer and squirrels and rabbits and snakes and and there's a big lake out there, a big pond anyway, and it's just a beautiful hidden gem over in Georgia.
Yeah.
And
I like to call that my office out
Your
there,
office.
because that's where
Yeah.
all the grills are. That's where the kitchen is. That's where we shoot all the videos out there. So when I come to the home office, that's where I go. That's where I am. They have to call me inside to go inside the building. They're like, "Hey, Craig, we're having a meeting," and I was like, "Oh, okay."
I'll come in there.
Yeah, that's where I'm going to be.
Well, you had Wi-Fi run out to the pavilion, so you
Yeah.
could work out there at the pavilion. Right?
exactly.
I mean, it's
Wasn't
cool
gonna
and
work.
nice out there. The concrete and the way it's shaded. I mean, you've been out there. It's really
is
nice.
Yeah, love it.
Well, in a few weeks, we've got coming up in October, well, I guess in a little over, a month and a half or something like that away. We got the Royal Oak Invitational coming up the
Yeah.
weekend of the 20th and 21st.
Yeah.
How's that coming along? Everything good? And y'all
Yeah.
starting to get everything selected out?
Yeah,
And
it's real busy time for that right now. This is time for, getting the final team selections and getting all that done. And it's a tough time. We've got around 90 sponsored teams, and we have
it's hard telling somebody no.
right, and we've really done our due diligence to choose the best teams out there. Not only the best competition teams, but the best teams social media wise, and also the best teams that represent the brand. And that's important just because we want people to be a part of the family. That's what I've kind of wanted and built here is that kind of atmosphere, not somebody that, hey, because they give me charcoal, I'm here. Well, they give me more charcoal, I'm over there next year or something like that.
That's right.
We want them to, be a part and bought into it. And doing the Royal Oak Invitational, that really solidifies when somebody comes on that campus.
They really understand the culture a lot.
Right.
How many teams participate in that?
We pretty much have a cap at 35 teams.
35.
That's all you can fit.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I wasn't sure the exact number.
Right. It's all we can fit in there, and we don't want to move it anywhere else.
Yeah, no.
We could
I
go to
don't
the
blame
PJ parking lot across the street. I mean, it's just across the street, but
It's not the same.
It's not.
Not the same
It's not the
ambience.
same.
Well, and y'all even pull your cars out and get shuttled in yourself just to fit teams in. So that's just to let everybody know how tight it is, and they fill up the whole parking lot and the whole
Yeah.
campus. It's pretty,
Right. Yeah.
pretty cool that.
There's a lot of logistics.
And they open the whole campus to all the teams there. I mean, make yourself at home, kind of
Right.
very hospitable. I feel
Yeah,
like.
and we encourage for them to bring their families. It's also an employee appreciation
Yeah.
too. Our employees at the home office bring their families out, and because we want them to, they get a chance to see. Sitting behind that computer and doing all they do, they actually get to see that charcoal in action. They get to see those teams cooking that product.
Right.
Because, at the very end, we put all that competition barbecue out on tables, and we give them to-go boxes, and they come in and they get to get all that competition barbecue and take it home with them and do all that. But in the meantime, they can walk around during the day, and, teams are receptive to, if they got questions or something like that, they answer the questions, and they also get to see the people that are behind the brand. They get to
Right.
see the ambassadors and Heath and Malcolm, myself, Leslie, Megan, Ferg. They're all there, and Robert Sierra came last year. Which was really cool having him there, and I hope I'm not forgetting anybody.
There's so many people there that I see, and it's like, at the hotel, that's another thing.
Yeah.
You get back to the hotel, and it's kind of like any other barbecue convention going on, right? Every barbecue person's in the lobby, and everybody's trying to get that last cocktail in before everybody goes to bed or last beer down. And it's always a good time when you see your barbecue family like that. And that's why that's one of the biggest things that going to the events like that is just seeing the barbecue family like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're bringing in cooks from California, cooks from Boston, New York, Minnesota, Illinois. I mean, they're from all over the country, and a lot of times they don't get that interaction unless it's a major. They may get together at the American. Then they're so busy they don't get to visit and sit around and
American
do
Royal is
that.
crazy to try to visit you, and it's so big to try to walk around. And
Yeah,
we were trying to go this year, but we're gone every week, and I'm like, look, I'm gonna have to be home that week. I can't go.
Yeah.
I can't go that week. We're traveling too much.
I mean, us being MBN people, that was not something I did. I went to my first American Royal 2 years ago.
Oh, really? 2
Yeah,
years was your
2
first
years
year to
ago
go?
was my
Oh,
first
wow.
year to go.
We were there.
I was
right?
on way before that.
Yeah, y'all were there.
Yeah.
That
I
was
think I was
when
pregnant.
y'all had the Traeger area.
we were with Traeger.
Exactly.
Yeah, I got a rib call then.
Yeah. But that was my first year. I was just
wow.
like, oh my God, but I learned that you either have to have a golf cart or you have to have a parking pass and ride around that place, because I'd go to one team over here and they wouldn't be there. And then I go to one team on the other side, which is about a mile, and then
They wouldn't be there.
Yeah, it wouldn't be there. And I was like, okay, so
You trying to call people, when are you going to be back? I got something for you.
I got that parking pass last year, and I just drove for 2 days until they made me get out of there and visited everybody, and wish teams luck and all that, and let them know that we're there to support them.
Well, you've been to a lot of big events.
So I'm going to throw this out there. So speaking of big events, what are your thoughts on Memphis in May? I'm sure that you have seen online, social media, what's kind of going on there as far as it may never be at the river again, they're saying. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think the bottom line is Memphis in May is at Tom Lee Park. It's on the river.
I agree.
It
It gives you a special feeling. I've said that multiple times.
Yeah, it's just the whole atmosphere on that
Yeah.
riverside, and in the evening, seeing that sunset over that river, and being there with your barbecue family and your people, and it's a big family reunion for us. We've done it for so long, and I've been to the two that's been at
Tiger Lane.
at Tiger Lane.
Yeah.
In 11, I think, when the flood happened, we had to go over there, and it did its job. But, and of course,
It was also thrown together too, so I don't know. Maybe if it's better planned, it would get better over there. I don't know.
I got the feeling it was just another parking lot cooking. I didn't get the feeling it was
You
Memphis
don't have
in May.
that warm, fuzzy feeling, or I don't know how to
Yeah.
describe it.
I mean,
but
when you
it's
come
just
over that
different.
hill and you see that river, man, and
I agree.
you see all the tents set up, and you see all the people out there, that's Memphis in May.
I agree. I agree.
Well, just watching it on the news every morning, they always, I don't know, we're up when the sun's rising, taking showers, and you got the news on, and
Ron
always
Childers
in
is
Memphis
always
in
going to be there to
Yeah.
see
Oh, yeah.
to see
It's
what's
a
going
fixture.
on with everybody.
May. It is totally different. It's just like being down there. This year, watching the sunrise Saturday morning and the smoke boiling and rib teams firing up and hog teams stoking the fire and shoulder teams. You hear alarms going off at 6 a.m. in the morning, and it's so different down there. I had chill bumps. We recorded a video, and I picked up my arm and I said, "Just look at the chill bumps here." And it is very different down there. I hope they get something figured out.
Yeah, I hope so too. It's got to bring good business downtown. It's got to help that, and I don't know. It's just finding a good area to have it if they do move it. But I just don't ever want to see it move from Tom Lee Park. That's just me, and that's how I will be. And
I agree.
that's just it. Memphis and May is on the river.
I agree. If they're going to spend another, $1.3 million, they may as well put in some better sidewalks down there, though. 'Cause shrubbery and dirt work and grass, as we know, living in Mississippi, it don't cost that much, Craig.
No, it's not that much.
No.
It's going to happen down there. I mean, you either reserve for it, you set aside reserve money to know that you got to come in behind that and do some work behind it, but you got to figure that out. I mean, because that didn't happen for the first time.
No, that's been happening for years.
Every year. Right. So, no surprise, but the amount was a little bit of a surprise. But
yeah.
I think that what I'm gathering from some inside sources now, that it more or less turned into a no communication match with Memphis in May. For nobody from the Memphis River Parks really understood the transportation end and logistics end of a contest. And they went in there and they didn't pour the sidewalks as thick, and the lanes are usually 8 foot wide, and they poured them 6 foot wide.
Yeah.
And when you're doing that kind of stuff, I knew the cost would be a little bit more, because, as you know, you can't do dirt work and then 2 weeks later throw sod on it and then hold an event a week later and
No.
You back a 30,000-pound trailer off the asphalt, you know what happens.
Yeah, it's going to
sets
sink
down.
It's going to sink.
And I think every barbecue trailer weighs between 20
We can't
and
just
30.
blame barbecue though. I mean, look at Music Fest now. Those are some big stages. You can't, you know, those artists are bringing in 18-wheelers and all their equipment. And I'm just not willing to take the blame, all of it on barbecue personally. But that's just me.
At the end of the day, all we can do is pay an entry fee is the way I look at it.
Right.
And hope that we can get back on the river again. And
Yep.
if not, I'm like you, Craig. It'll be another parking lot contest. But I know somebody that'll be there in the parking lot cooking. That'll be me.
Yeah.
Wherever it's at, I'm going to be there.
There again, go back to the 25 plus years I've been there, and I've only missed 2, and that was COVID and when Heath Scott graduated med school. The only 2 I've missed probably in the last 27 years. So
they just sent me a picture from the podium. I'd have been in Memphis.
We got lucky. Heath's son graduated 2 weeks before Memphis in May. We were always
what did
worried.
I ask when we registered him for
We were always worried that graduation was going to end
Yeah.
up. But now we have our daughter, so who knows 18 years from now how that's going to end up.
I'm going to be retired by then. So, I know 18 years from now.
You won't see me there in 18
Yeah, I
years. I can tell you that.
18 years. You might see me there, but it's going to be.
We might be judging.
Might be a judge or something.
You're going to root me out of the woods in 18 years to get me to see
sure.
daylight.
Well, you know, talking about contests and all, Craig, I got to take a 90-degree turn. Let's talk about this alligator you just killed, buddy.
Well, you know, that was that was pretty cool for one thing. It's one that we got a camp and we get private land tags, so we've got a lake there that we primarily hunt, and you know, we've seen this alligator on this lake for the last 7 years since we got to be members. And so we've hunted that alligator, not primarily, but he's one of the alligators on that lake that we hunt every year. And you know, we've hooked him, or I personally have hooked him about 3 times, but he's smart. You know, those things don't get to be, you know, 11 feet and 50 years old being dumb. And he had an area he would go to, and it had a lot of logs down and limbs down. He'd swim through those things, and it would either catch the hook and pull it, or he'd tangle all the line up. And we'd have to cut the line because it was tangled so bad. So he's been there and done that with us several times. And but this time we caught him more out in the open, and the lake was so low, all of his escape route and trees and stuff were up out of the water, so he really couldn't get there to it. And so we got him out in open water, and that was his wrong move. And so yeah, it was. It took us about an hour to.
So how does it work in Mississippi? I know it's different everywhere with the animals you harvest. Y'all have to snag them first, correct?
Well, we do, and now we can shoot them during the day. With a high-power rifle. Now
y'all usually do that.
No, we've never done that actually. But you could, because you got to be able to retrieve them. Yeah, and so and now I tell you, it's funny because you've got these hummingbird systems on these boats that give the 3D imaging of the bottom, so you can see that. And we've got a few boats that actually have that. So it is an option, but it's not really what we do. I mean, we go out there with the snag rods, and like this one, he sat down on the bottom. When we got close to him, we actually got in between him and where his little area is, and he was out in the open water, so we kind of cut him off. So he went down to the bottom, and we sat there, and, you know, then all of a sudden you see the big bubbles start coming up, and you're like, well, there he is, and you start, you know, casting till you snag him. And then I snagged him, and then my buddy was next to me, he threw, and he snagged him like to throw right after. So almost simultaneously, we snagged him, and then he took off. Thank goodness we had 2 hooks in him, because mine came out. And because sometimes you get them in the leg or something, and they start swimming, they'll pull the hook or throw it out. And so yeah, we were fortunate to have 2 hooks in him when he did that. And so he, instead of, you know, going towards where we were in his little area, he kind of went out more in the open water, which was good for us because, you know, as they swim, they have to come up for air more and more. They get tired. And so we kept seeing him come up and, kept on him. And then finally when he got good and tired, he went to the bottom again. And when he did that, that's when we were able to situate over the top of him. We got a big treble hook and a rope and able to throw it out there, drag the bottom and get that, big hook in him and the big line. And when you do that, that gives you leverage to be able to pull him up. And when you get him to the top, they do that death roll. And he just wrapped himself up in the rope and the line and all that. So, but once they do the death roll, they're spent. I mean, they release all their adrenaline, and once they do that, they're done. And then you just get their head to situated where you can, put the final shot into it.
So how does one get into gator hunting? What made you one day say, I'm going to do this? Were you raised to do that? Did your family do that?
I'm going to interrupt. Sounds like some shit I want to do.
Well, I just want to know how you would get into that. I mean, did you know somebody doing it?
Well,
how did you get into that?
You need to take a class. They take you through like a day class, and thank goodness we did that, because I say there was two of our members that did that, because they tell you the equipment you need, right, how you need to go about it, kind of how you need to do it, and all that, which ended up being beneficial. The first one that we caught, because we kind of knew what we needed to do,
right,
and so we knew those big alligators were out there on this lake, and we just said, let's do this. I mean, we've got that place to do it. We get private land tags, so we don't have to go into the draw system. The owner of our camp, he just what you do is you map out the water acreage you have on your camp, and then you get tagged 1 or 2 tags or however many tags based on that water acreage, and you're guaranteed those every year. Where the draw system, you have to do that. You have to register and go in the draw, and you might get drawn, you might not, but you're hunting public waters then. You're hunting Yazoo River, or you're hunting, it depends on what zone you're in and all that. It's just a little more to it. But yeah, we decided to give it a whirl, and went out there, and first time we were out there, we actually went out the day before just to kind of prospect, look around a little bit. Well, we went out there, and those alligators had never been chased on that lake. They've never been bothered. They never, just a couple guys out there fishing, and they just kind of went the other way. Didn't bother them. So first time we went out there just looking, there was like a 10-foot alligator swimming 10 yards in front of the boat. He was just moseying along, and we're just right behind him in the boat. And I was like, well, I don't think we're going to have much trouble, with these alligators here. They're very comfortable. They weren't skittish at all. And then that next night is when we went out, and we hooked up on a 10-foot alligator.
So you typically do it at night? We
typically do it at night, yeah. As a matter of fact, Saturday was the first day that we got to go in daylight, because the guy that has the camp and has the tags, and you have to have a tag holder in the boat, he farms, and this is always harvest for him. So he's always working during the day, and he's only able to go at night. Well, he got ahead on his corn, and he was started on his beans, and they were bringing another combine to help. Anyway, they decided to wait till Monday to really get going, and he had Saturday off. So we actually went down there to get the batteries out of the boat after going Friday night, and then we all got down there, and we were like, let's go ride around a little bit. Let's just go take a look, because the water was so low. We let's see where there's logs or structure and all this. Take a look, and I just happened to have a 22 rifle in my side by side, so I said, let's grab a rifle just in case. We already had the poles in the boat, and sure enough, that's how it happened. Yeah, it was just.
So, have you ever only gator hunted there at where you're used to going, or have you gone elsewhere? Have you gone to other states?
No, I've only gator hunted right there, with those private landowner tags, because, we can't go to public waters. And matter of fact, we got a lake right across the street from our house, our camp houses. It's called Lake Jackson. And we can't hunt that because it's public water, although it's private land, which our farmer has the land around there, but it's public water, and we have private tags, so we can't hunt that. and we have seen a huge alligator over there.
Oh, wow.
And but it's in the area, so we kind of If we take a couple of dominant males or the dominant male out of that lake that we have, maybe he moves over there, and because the water's real low, if it gets low enough, he's got to go somewhere. He may travel over there because the river's right there too, so he may go to the river. We don't know, but he's in the area for sure.
So what do you do with them? You catch them. What do you do with these gators?
Well, as Heath knows, that's when the work starts.
I've seen that. I know that you cook some gators. I don't know if you cook all of them.
Yeah.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
You cook all of them, or
that's, of course, Saturday it was 110 plus degrees.
It was very hot.
And we got him at 3:00 in the afternoon, and it was one of those
hottest part of the day.
Hottest part of the day. we don't have a walk-in cooler to put him in.
Yeah.
If you put ice on him, it's going to melt so fast.
Right.
And so we just made the decision to let's clean him like right now, and I've cleaned a bunch of them, and so that's what we did. Clean and got all the meat, all the leg meat, jowl meat, tail meat, all the meat we could get off of him off the back, and so. We did all that Saturday, and until it got dark, and man, it was out in that heat for all that time. And
very hot that day.
Man,
a lot of meat off of him.
Yeah, we got a lot of meat. We had to go buy another freezer to put all the meat in. But yeah, it's like anything, and I know you're the same way. When I get that meat off, I clean the meat. I get all the fat off, all the gristle off.
Yeah, we'll do it then. You don't have to eventually do it, and then
That's
just freezing it with it all on there.
Right. So now when anything I put in the freezer wild game wise, and it's like that, it doesn't matter if it's duck breast, dove breast,
it's ready to
alligator,
go.
it's ready to go.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a long process to do
So
that.
you've done it that way, but you've also cooked them whole in the past.
Yeah.
I've seen pictures where you've cooked whole
a lot
gators.
smaller gators.
Yeah, smaller, not one that
Right.
big.
Well, when you cook them
but-
for an event or something, they have to
Yeah.
be USDA, alligators. It can't be one you get out of the ditch,
Right.
But yeah, I've cooked a bunch of those, and,
Yeah.
and that's been a lot of fun. You go to Denver or New York
Yeah.
or Chicago or
People aren't used to seeing that.
What is the biggest USDA approved alligator you could get your hands on to cook?
That's a good question. Probably the biggest one I've gotten's been about 50 to 60 pounds, 5 feet long, somewhere in that area.
They're not going to do no grade 8.
I mean, that's a decent size, though.
Yeah, it's a decent size. I've gotten to where
meat though.
Yeah.
You get done and stuff it. You're stuffing it too, though, right?
Well, I'm stuffing the tail. Yeah, once I lay it out and get all the fat out, I've got a style I do that the cream cheese and boudin and all that, and put on a hot dog bun. I call a redneck lobster roll. And then now I got another style I do where I put in this wild boar chorizo, and I chop all that up and make it street taco with this lime cilantro slaw, pineapple lime cilantro slaw, but what you have to do is like if you do an event and you got so many people, you got to make it go as far as you can.
Right.
So doing little street tacos, hey, people getting to eat alligator is really good, but it's going a lot further because if you just chop up the meat and hand it out, you're going to get 40, 50 servings. Yeah. You do it the other way, you're going to get 120, 140 servings. So.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I'll be doing a charity event at Mossy Oak next month, Foxhole Shootout, and I'll do 2 of them, and I'll do both of them. It'll be street tacos, but they'll have 400 people at that event, so I'll try to get 250, 300 servings. I won't be able to get quite 400, but makes it go a lot further.
Right.
That's what it does. So
that sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Well, talking about all that and going on, what is some of your must-have football foods to cook while the games are on? And you're at the hunting.
And who are you? Who's your team?
Well, I'm a Delta State guy.
Right.
Cleveland, Delta State, fighting over.
I graduated
Candace
from there.
graduated
I have
from Cleveland?
My nursing degree's
Hey,
from.
give me a tater there. That's what I'm talking about. Heck yeah. If SEC team, I grew up a Tennessee fan.
Lord.
Yeah, I know you did. Don't think.
Hey, Manning's going there. That's so they say, right?
Well, we'll see.
Again,
We'll see.
he went there once.
Right. But my mom went to UT. All her family was from Knoxville. I grew up going to Knoxville every summer. And it's like one of them as a kid. If you walk in and you see that sea of orange and you're done. It's just it was that experience.
I mean, I will say that is a cool stadium. Y'all got some football stuff going on right now, don't you? A little bit of infractions and
Yeah, who doesn't? I mean,
who doesn't?
yeah.
I mean, we're an Ole Miss fan. We always got some stuff going on, okay?
We got all kinds of stuff going on.
Well, let me get on Twitter. What's Lane up to today here?
Right. It just doesn't matter if they want to get you or not. Everybody's doing it, but
when's it Saban's turn? Is what I want to know.
Well, I don't
when's
know.
it Saban's turn?
It's probably a lot of.
That's the questions everybody asks. That's the hard questions.
Well, the tailgating food, I'm a big chicken wing guy. Gotta have some chicken wings and bacon wrap anything.
Well, you can't beat bacon. I mean, you can't.
Bacon wrap, little smokies.
Bacon makes everything
Of
good.
course, I have wild game in the freezer, and I like duck. Do Bob poppers, anything like that. And I love the dips and stuff you started doing. Getting into those and. Love any kind of thing like
just
that.
different. I mean, we just been trying to do different little snack foods and different stuff, and a lot of people love our videos, and of course we get some comments. People don't like stuff, but
People
I
don't
think
love
that's
them also.
everything. But I mean, it don't bother us. We're just doing our own thing. We may do dips this week, and it may be wings next week. We may do a long video for a butt the next. We just do what we like to eat. And,
well, people know there's no intent here. We're just doing what we like. Do what we like to do and do what we.
I'm just walking in the grocery store going, "Yep, I'm gonna cook that."
Yeah.
I mean, it's something will come to my mind, or I'll see something online and I'll go, "I'm gonna do my own version, twist this up," and never look at a recipe. I just go mixing stuff together a lot of times.
Well, that's the fun part.
Till I figure out I like it, then I try to develop a recipe around it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, and seeing something that looks very interesting, and you're like, man, if I do this with this and do this with that, I can make it my own and make it better, and kind of
that's right.
go that way with it. But with these, like drums and stuff, you can do the higher cooking, the higher temperatures. Man, I've baked pies and done cakes, and it's very versatile. And,
So many things.
Yeah, so many things, and.
What are you doing? Any tailgating events this year? I know you do a lot of different charity events. Or you've got any football games planned to do big
Man, I tell you,
tailgating events? Anything?
Right now, I don't. I'll thank goodness I'll be home for pig picking at Delta State. Which
Really?
Yeah,
That'd be the first time in a hot minute, right?
a long time. But yeah, that's like the 23rd of September, and of course that's also the MBN contest.
Take care of my boy Austin now.
Oh, yeah.
Right? He's gonna be there.
I'll do
Take care
that.
of him. He ain't coming out from that Delta. He loves those Delta cooks.
Man, I love it too.
I do too. I love Oktoberfest is my favorite. Like I said earlier, But we've never been to pig picking.
No,
Austin always brings me a T-shirt from there, but we've never. It's always the same weekend as something else.
Is it the Royal Oak
normally.
Invitational? Is
No,
October?
it's usually in September. It may be the American Royal. It floats.
I think
a
in the
little bit.
past it's always been the weekend of something else, and we've never gotten to go. But
Need to cook down there.
I know
Cook the
I
rib
want to go to
down
Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
That's my favorite. Me and Dennis Cheshire just, we got to butt heads when we can.
Well, this year it just happens to be October. I think it's 8th, 7th, 8th weekend, and so it's in between the American Royal, in between the Jack, and so we're
Are you going to the Jack? I'm sure you are, right?
Yeah, I've been
We will be at the Jack
We're
too.
coming.
Cool.
No, we're not cooking. We're just going.
I've been fortunate to be able to judge it the last like 5 years.
Are you judging this
Yeah.
coming year?
Yeah, and,
So it's the 7th. Oktoberfest is the 7th, 6th,
it
and
is.
7th.
It is. And Leslie and I just talked, and man, that people with U-Bonds, of course, is kind of here and there, and we were like, man, we don't want to miss, Oktoberfest. That's like the original one that Gary cooked in about.
I love that
many years ago.
contest.
But yeah, Leslie talked, and so she was like, we're talking about maybe if we put a hog on. And I was like, yeah, and Jacob's gonna come up from school, and we're gonna cook a hog in Memphis in May.
So I feel like
Oktoberfest, so.
we skipped over a big point going back to barbecue. So people call you BBQ Ninja.
Mm-hmm.
Where did that come from? Tell us about that.
It actually came from when that name came about. We were in New York at the Big Apple Barbecue Block Party. Used to cook up there for that every year at Madison Square Park. And there was a year we had a film crew there doing a documentary on U-Bonds. I don't know if it's one of those didn't really go mainstream.
I watched it.
Yeah.
In the theater.
You did.
It played down there. I did come to the showing of that. Yes, I did.
The United States of Barbecue.
I had to support Poppy.
And appreciate that too. That meant a lot. I know. But we were up there, and the guy he was on the camera, and up there and anywhere really, we cook outside. So I always wear a bandana, sweat over the food.
Yeah.
And then we're outside too. I wear sunglasses and, you know, it's just what I do. And I was just off to the side and didn't even have an idea he was behind me, but I was over there and I was putting my bandana on. I was putting my sunglasses on. That's kind of go time. You know, that's time that we're fixing to dive in the trenches and we're fixing to light the fires and we're fixing to get busy, because that was a very busy cook. But anyway, I put the bandana on, the sunglasses on. I turned around and, you know, he was holding the camera and I just looked and on a whim, I just, you know, did a little bow and kind of threw it up and the cameraman said, "The BBQ Ninja arises," you know.
Yeah.
And so
the BBQ Ninja was born.
It was born. But, you know, right there in the beginning, I didn't embrace it as much. It was just kind of cool. And every time I put the bandana on. But a couple of years later, as a matter of fact, Leslie and I was in the airport going to Australia. We were doing a barbecue event over there. And I got a call in the airport from the Food Network to do Chop Grill Masters. And so I was like, okay, you know, got some things happening here, things going on. When we got to Australia, they introduced me as the BBQ Ninja. And the people there really reacted to it. I mean, they really, you know, it was cool. The kids loved it. You know, they'd come up with the ninja stuff, kick me in my shin and stuff. You know,
Try to stab you with a chef's knife.
Right. And a guy had one of these little ninja figurines or something. He gave it to me there. And I was like, okay, you know, there's something to this BBQ Ninja thing. And Leslie and I talked, and I was coming back, I was like, I need to jump on this. You know, I'm fixing to go on national TV with Food Network, and you know, I need to. So I got back and I changed all my social media to the BBQ Ninja, and then did the show, and that's what they wanted on the show. They were like, we don't want Craig Rocker, man. You know, we want the BBQ Ninja. So that, you know, got on the show with the bandana and everything, and just really started going with it from there, and so it's like, you know, it's kind of a joke with Royal Oak now. You know, I got my, you know, start shirt on, they'll corporate Craig, you know, and then they see the bandana going, it's the BBQ Ninja. You know? So it's kind of fun play.
You never knew that role play would come in a different light for you like that, right?
I have BBQ Ninja stickers on random things at home. I feel like you never know. Different events, you always have stickers.
Who's going around? Even somebody was at Key West. Was it Mike D slapping BBQ Ninja stickers everywhere we went? Slapping them up.
It's just been a fun thing. You know, I had a couple from that worked at the Salt Lick in Texas. They went to Paris and they were like holding the BBQ Ninja and had the Eiffel Tower in the background, and so it's just different things. It's been fun it's been a fun thing to run with and go and have a brand
I bet
to work on and work with. So, you know, I don't have a face like that, so I got to.
I mean, you have a face for radio, Craig.
Yeah, I do. Perfect.
You got a face for radio.
Perfect. We need to cover this up. Just do the audio.
You never heard that, have you?
Many times.
Well, you know, we're going to show a pic of this gator that Craig killed. We're going to throw it up on the screen. I don't want to forget about that also as well during this video, because that is a massive gator with a backhoe when I turned the page there.
Yeah, we actually had to go get that backhoe to get that gator from the lake back. It was 5 grown men couldn't get it.
Did you weigh it?
We didn't get to weigh it. You know, we had to the scales that my buddy had was back in Greenville or something, and man, we had to get on to cleaning that thing because we didn't want the meat to spoil. So we didn't get to weigh it. But
so what'd y'all do with the cape, if you don't mind me asking?
We're gonna get it tanned.
Hang it up.
Matter of fact, yesterday I took all that to the taxidermist head, the cape. I didn't do a full body. When I clean them, I just take the cape off, the risers off the back, all the way down to the tip of the tail where they go into the single, and then I take the rest of the bottom part of the tail off, but the belly and all that. The guy that taught me how to clean them, he was like, man, if you ever cut that stomach and that acid in that stomach gets out, it'll ruin everything. It'll ruin your clothes. You know, it's just a very acidic. Yeah. And he said if it gets on any of the meat, it'll ruin all that. So when I clean them, I just, like I said, get the leg meat, get the tail meat, and what I can off the back, the jowls and the neck, and the rest I leave intact.
So kind of half skinning them to get the cape off then, basically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
But yeah, we're gonna put that up in the house down there, the skull and this guy's got a story, you know.
I bet.
We've been after him for 6-7 years, so
I bet.
you know, we want to be able to tell the story. It was pretty cool that the farmer that we rent the place from, his son was with us on his first gator hunt. So, you know, kind of getting that next generation. You know, I'm about that with barbecue. I'm about that with hunting and all that. So it was cool that he was with us and got to experience that too.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So tell everybody where they can find you at, for everybody wondering.
Well, I live in Cleveland, Mississippi. And weekends, if I'm not on the road, I'm at the hunting camp. No, but on my social media, Facebook, I'm the BBQ Ninja. Also on Instagram at the BBQ Ninja. Also on TikTok at the BBQ Ninja, and I'm Twitter at _BBQ_Ninja. So yeah, it's the in front of the BBQ Ninja. I think somebody may have wanted to be a bit BBQ Ninja before I came along, but
You are the barbecue ninja.
yeah, I kind of took the ball and ran with it. They just wanted it to happen. I made it happen.
Well, you know what? Nothing wrong with that. Well, I, for one, appreciate you for coming all the way up here and being on the show with us, Craig.
Anytime.
You enlightened me. You really got me definitely wanting to do some alligator hunting now, for sure. But in the meantime, time to go do a little bit of dove hunting this weekend coming up. Labor Day weekend.
It is on the schedule to do that. We're gonna alligator hunt at night, get a little sleep, and get up dove hunting today.
I know.
It's a great time of year. I mean, you know, football starting up.
I hope I have enough shells. I hope I have enough shells bought up.
I hope you have that many doves. So
I think I have 62 cases of shotgun shells right now.
I think
that's the count I'm at right now.
you could throw those and probably kill enough doves.
Well, man, they were going up, so I panic bought during the pandemic.
Hoarder.
Yeah. There you go.
Well, look, we appreciate you coming on Shootin' the Q today with us and telling everybody, you know, just kind of who you are. And we can't wait to have you out at the farm, and we're going to do some grilling out there.
Hey, anytime. Y'all two of my favorite people, and I'm a phone call away.
All right, now we're going to get ready to answer some mailbag questions.
All right, so we have some mailbag questions for this week. Sometimes we do mailbag, sometimes we do negative comments.
Yeah.
This week we'll do mailbag. All right, what are some tips and tricks for building an MBN box for shoulder?
Oh, wow. Tips and tricks. First thing I'm going to say is you got to get your sauce scalding hot. You want to take kind of your pulled pork or your chopped pork, kind of pour that sauce over it a little bit, maybe dust it with a little rub, toss it around, get it in the bottom of your box for a heat bed. And then you want to start selecting your chunks and plugs you want to go in the box and making sure you're taking your knife and kind of scraping the fat off a little bit of it, kind of putting a little sauce on them, start placing them in your box and arranging them. And that's good. You want to make sure you fill the box up. And anybody that cooks a Memphis-style contest or an MBN on a shoulder box, you want to almost be like at 6 pounds of meat in the box. You want to fill it up. Don't just give a judge a little bit of meat. Give them enough to choose from. Put chunks, plugs, tubes, whatever you can pull out of there and find, that's what you need to put in there.
All right. I want juicy results for my pork butt. Can I cook it partially at 225 and then finish it off at 250?
Of course. You can start a butt out low and slow at 225 and let it get up to around 150 degrees before you wrap it to be sure the bark is stuck good. Wrap it in foil, use a little bit of apple juice or butter bath or no liquid at all. That butt has enough of moisture in it. If you want to ensure a juicy butt, though, you got to get some Heath Riles barbecue pork injection. It'll carry it over the top every time.
All right. If I'm making your bourbon brown sugar pork belly burnt ends, can I substitute bourbon powder for real bourbon?
All right, I'm going to go ahead and say it. Let's pull the man card on this one. What man don't have a bottle of bourbon at the house? I'm going to say you can use the powder. You would probably need to melt it or cook it down in the sauce before you poured it over it. I probably wouldn't just dust the powder on top.
Yeah.
But I prefer a real glass because I'm always going to take a swig out of it and pour a little bit in.
When you take the wrap butt off of the smoker to rest, would you suggest setting it on the countertop or put it in a cooler like a Yeti?
It honestly depends on when you want to eat it. If you're wanting to hold it for several hours, I would say take the drain plug out of the Yeti and set it in there so it don't oversteam.
Yeah.
It can still let a little bit of heat out, but still hold the moisture in there and keep it warm and hot for, 7-8 hours if needed. But if not, just set it on the counter, let it cool down, because those muscles definitely need to relax for you to shred that butt.
Can the butter bath be used as a thinning agent for barbecue sauce and still do the job that it was intended for?
That is a great question. I know it will go good with the sauce mixed in to thin out the sauce, but I would say it would still work mixed in with it if you made it thin enough with barbecue sauce to work.
So you haven't actually done that?
I haven't actually done that before.
Yeah.
No.
All right, last one. What's one recipe you didn't get right that you'd like to redo?
Oh, wow.
That Dollar General hog that time.
That Dollar
Anyway, we're moving
No,
on.
I'm honestly going to say the either my cinnamon rolls I made, I wouldn't have cooked them as long, or either my brisket hash that I made. When I put my eggs in the skillet, we were trying to get the perfect shot, and my eggs didn't stay runny. They cooked all the way, and when I went in for that dip, that yolk was hard as heck. So I would probably have to redo that. Other than that, it was a great dish. It just needed different, some runny style eggs in it. So
Well, that's all I have.
I hope everybody enjoyed the show today. Be sure to share it with your friends. We'll be back next week with a new podcast and another guest.
Thank you for tuning in to the Shootin' the Q podcast. If you have any comments or suggestions for future episodes, please feel free to reach out to us on our social media channels or through our website. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform. Leave us a review if you enjoyed the show. Until next time, keep shooting the Q.